Hello and welcome. We are Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. I'm Steven, joined as always by Andrew.
Hello.
And Ryan.
I'm here again.
And
he does exist.
I'm real. I'm not fake. You're fake.
Real. And in this episode of SI Unscripted, we're going to be talking about our favorite martial arts showdowns.
Yes.
These are the final showdowns.
The big climactic fights.
Maybe not the final, but most of them are going to be final.
Or they should have been.
They should have. Yeah, they should have been.
They should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a better way to think about it.
So just go ahead and accept there's going to be spoilers starting right now. If we mention a movie and you haven't seen it, you're going to get spoiled.
Yep.
Yeah, we might be talking about the final showdown. That's a pretty big spoiler for whatever movie we're
But also,
talking about.
if we're talking about a movie from like the 1970s, what the heck? Why have you? No, actually, I'm
Why
not
haven't
judging
you
you for
watched
not
it?
seeing
Yeah.
some Hong Kong.
I mean,
martial
well,
arts film from the 1970s.
it's probably because they haven't been able to find a way to watch it.
Yeah, you
because
can't
there
find
are
it. It's
unfortunately very, very hard to find a lot
Some
of
of
the
them, yeah.
the older
The classics,
martial
if you
arts
will.
films.
Well, and also, like, it's probably not even that big of a spoiler.
Or the
Like,
only
you know the
version-
hero's going to win in most of these movies. So
Or the only version you can find is the dub that was done in like 1978.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, ooh, boy, I don't know if I want to.
that's a lot of movies.
rough. Ooh.
Yeah.
So who wants to kick this one off?
I'm going to go ahead and start.
Oh, Andrew's scared of getting poached.
No,
Yeah.
I am not going to allow this one to get poached because.
Go ahead.
He's looking
he's-
at
he's
me.
got-
I know it's
y'all got some,
mine.
like,
I know it's the one I'm going to say, so go
intense
ahead.
contact right here.
So
feel the
this,
heat?
This is from the 1994
Okay, you're good.
Jackie Chan film, Legend of the Drunken Master, or Drunken Master 2, also considered one of the best martial arts films ever made, and
yeah.
one of the best final showdowns of any martial arts film ever.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
whenever I swear, every time I go to Bamboo, this is on.
This is
TV.
on, yeah.
Yeah, every
They
time.
just have it on loop.
So this is
It's-
the,
Bamboo's a
Godzilla
sushi restaurant
film.
in town, by the way. They play Godzilla movies and Kung Fu movies
Yeah, it's
while
great.
you eat.
It's
It's
great.
fantastic.
So here is the stage for this film.
Yeah, set it up
You
for
don't
us.
need to watch the first Drunken Master. You can just watch this
They're,
one.
they're
totally
very
fine.
unrelated, honestly.
Yeah, well, because
Yeah.
they both had they made them like 30 years apart.
they're very there's a big gap. There's like 70 or late 60s.
72, I think, was Drunken Master.
Something
maybe
like
74.
that.
So,
Yeah, anyway,
anyways,
keep
yeah.
going.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think
so
maybe later 70s.
possibly.
Keep going.
Anyway, okay, yeah. So the final showdown of this takes place in a British-owned steel factory in
Yeah.
ethyl alcohol.
Because you make those two in the same.
Because you do, yeah.
You know, as one does.
That's what it does.
And the big conceit with this is Jackie Chan's character. The more he drinks, the better at fighting he gets.
Yeah. His style is that drunken kung fu style that you've probably seen. If you've played Tekken 3, you know.
And this actually is a real Chinese
does it,
martial
yeah.
arts fighting style in
Yeah.
real life. Is drunken style.
So there's only 16 years between.
Oh,
them.
16 years, yeah.
78 to 94.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you don't have to watch the first one. I mean, it's related, but you don't have to watch it.
It's like tangential. Like,
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's really not necessary.
It's
Yeah,
not like
so
you're going to be missing out any of the story. You can watch it.
get
yeah.
to this final bit.
Yeah.
And it is a 7-minute martial arts extravaganza that is just
Oh, yeah.
so absurdly good. One, because you have Jackie Chan, who's almost at the, he's not really at the peak. He was like really in his peak, like late 80s,
So
I think.
I feel like, though, like Drunken Master 2, Operation Condor 2, which
And
is
Super
Army of
Cop.
God, like those were like the 90s.
Yeah.
And they were like okay, maybe not his physical peak, but his filmmaking. And his
there's
stunts.
some
Yes.
level where his physical ability met both his filmmaking ability and his filmmaking influence. He's moved from being an
Yes,
actor to where
yes.
he's producing and
directing,
directing
yeah.
and doing choreography.
And that window of like, I don't know, 5 years or whatever, when those intersected is some of the best Jackie Chan out there.
So that fight, 7-minute fight, took 4 months.
4 months to shoot.
Holy moly.
And basically, so what he said in the past is basically 8 hours of film would really be only about 4 or 5 seconds worth of usable footage for the day.
Oh man! So he crawled over the burning hot coals twice. Because the first time he said he felt he didn't have the right rhythm, so that he made them retake it.
Yeah, so
Oh.
he got actually burned pretty badly for this.
And he directed that one? Or
no.
someone
No,
else?
he did not.
No. He and the director actually apparently had a lot of arguments with each other.
They did.
Yeah.
But so the thing that I love about this fight the most, though, is outside of just the absolute madcap of him like drinking ethyl alcohol and going completely just
nuts.
insane,
Yeah.
and going like beast mode on the final bad guy, Ken Lo, who in real life was his actual bodyguard, who is also
Yeah.
a world-class kicker. And whenever you're watching this fight, the speed at which he is kicking and doing all of these kind of stunts, that's real speed. They didn't speed up the footage at all. He's just that fast.
Yeah.
And this was so impressive.
So Chan actually did take over as director for the final fight scene. He basically like drove the other guy off. They had so many arguments. So the original director wanted to use wires during this fight as like the more of the floaty style.
No.
Yeah, I'm so glad that didn't happen.
So the best part is like, you know, you have Jackie Chan spitting fire at people.
Oh, yeah.
You have them using like these burning hot metal rods and like sticking them through wood and catching it on fire.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where like he's kind of like rearing up to fight Ken Lo again, and he just spits on the ground with the alcohol and it catches the rod back on fire. Mm-hmm. And it's like all of this is real, and it is just amazing at how much they caught in camera and how hardcore they were for this fight. I mean, 7 minutes.
It goes, and again, like you said, they filmed it like 4 months of like focus on this fight for it to be, and it pays off though.
It really does.
Yeah,
because like this definitely is one of those that is considered one of the best, if not the best, martial arts fight in film. Period.
It's one of those things to where, like, if you're talking to someone who's never watched a martial arts movie and they're like, I mean, I don't know, why should I? Is it all hokey, like Bruce Lee? Wah, wah, you know, no. Watch it and you play this for them. That would be
brutal.
Like, it would be, and you might actually not be doing a good thing because now you're setting them up and like, this is the best. Nothing compares.
Yeah, you just ruined them. They're not gonna be able to watch anything else.
Well, and that's the thing. There's still some other fantastic fights out there that even ones that Jackie Chan has done, but this one is just, it's so far and above everything else that I was looking up some other stuff for this episode and I was like, oh man, I really remember this one. I watched the fight and I'm like, that was pretty good. And then I was like, fine, I'll look at Drunken Master 2 again. And I popped it up. I'm like, this is like nothing beats this.
No, it's almost the perfect intersection of not just the fight, but the choreography of the environment, the usage of space, the usage of like movement.
Well,
and
such a Jackie Chan signature thing to use the environment and not just be like, oh, we're just gonna get in here and punch each other, you know?
Right.
Well, there's a part where Ken Lo picks up this, kind of like tall bar stool and like kind of rushes at Jackie.
Oh, yeah.
And while he's like in beast mode, because he's drunk, and he like basically just blocks it with his arms and then just spins it, and the whole thing just shatters apart.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is just cool.
I know.
This is just awesome.
It's like, did they plan that or did that just happen? Either way, it rules. I don't know.
They're fighting in basically a factory that only produces sparks.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how could this not be cool?
What do you guys produce here? Mostly sparks, also ethyl alcohol and steel, but it's really 70% just sparks. It's just all day, just sparks.
All right, someone else go.
Okay, I'll jump in.
Oh, you're going to jump in? Okay.
I'm going in.
All right. Well, you're not going to take mine. I can guarantee you that.
1984.
There it is.
Wheels on Meals.
Oh, Wheels on Meals
knew
is
this was
good.
Coming. Knew this was coming.
I
should have
love.
made Ryan go last.
Was that yours?
No,
Okay.
end on a high note.
Jet.
No,
The
it's more
fight
end on a high note
with
thing.
Benny the Jet Urquidez at the end. However you say his last name. I probably butchered it right there. I apologize to all of Spain.
Urquidez? I don't know.
Urquidez.
I don't know.
This fight is just, I mean, for me,
It's bonkers good.
It's bonkers good. And it all, like, okay, it still has a lot of the movement and the use of the environment and the stunts like the Drunken Master, but not to near the same extent.
Well,
it's more about the raw fighting talent prowess of both these guys.
Yeah.
Because like Benny the Jet is just, I mean, he looks imposing. When he throws kicks and stuff, you're like, I bet that man would knock me out from across the ridge. Just the wind from his kicks.
The blow of the wind.
Yeah. Well, because
speaking of,
yeah, like in that fight when he they kick towards a candle, he blew the candle out from like who knows how far away.
Yeah.
And that they left it in. That was not like intentional or like a
and that was real. Like it actually happened.
They didn't have somebody under the table like whew, like blowing out the candle when he did it. His kick had so much wind on it that
the thing that I love about it is that they did it once and they're like, I bet you didn't believe that. We're gonna do it again.
He did it again. Yeah. The coolest thing for me about this though is the movie itself, Wheels on Meals, not the best. It's fine. It's very like funny and kind of weird. It definitely leans more comedy.
There's really not a ton of martial arts in it.
There's not really. It's more of a goofy
comedy,
vehicle for him and Sammo Hung and Yun Biao to have like, fun back and forth. And then at the end, it just ends with this incredible fight scene with him and Benny the Jet.
Well, this is when Jackie Chan is like really like skinny.
Oh, yeah.
and like super ripped.
This is physical peak probably
yes.
for him.
The opening
honestly.
scenes of this movie where him and Ewan Biao are doing their morning like warm-ups, and they're like they lock ankles and they both are doing like sit-ups and they're doing like the handstand push-ups, and I'm like, this guy's in insane shape. Like you're just looking at Jackie Chan like he's like 100% muscle.
Yeah,
Like,
he had like the body mass index of like just no fat.
yeah, like 0.2% fat or something. But yeah, like Benny the Jet. So like I looked it up. He's got a kickboxing record of 53 fights. Of those, 49 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, and 2 no contests. He holds a black belt in Kempo, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Shotokan Karate, Taekwondo, Kajukimbo, and Kendo. Like all this guy does is study martial arts.
Too much time on his hands. Yeah.
Like, why do you have time to eat? When I'm a black belt in 7 things.
I love Ryan having to look at his fingers.
Yeah,
How many did I?
1, 2, 3, 7. Yeah. But yeah, the whole fight, the way it like escalates from like up until this point, you know, Jackie Chan's character has been not uncontested, but like most people he's fought, he's kind of like
They haven't really had much of a chance.
Yeah. And he gets to this guy, and like it's like immediately aware,
Like,
like
you can
ooh,
definitely tell this is an actual boss fight.
this is and like just the flow of the fight and like how they both are ringing each other's bells, and they have that one moment where they both almost pass out, and then they both like kind of like square back up, and they're both like like, you know, rubbing. And when Jackie Chan, he sits down
Because
like,
they basically do like a cross counter kick to each other.
Yeah. But in the middle, when like Jackie Chan sits down to take a minute, you know, and Benny the Jet's kind of like, "What are we doing?
What's going on?"
And like he's like, that's when it's like, okay, I got to rally. I got to go buck wild in order for this fight to like go through. I just love that fight. Partially because we had that movie on VHS. I like bought it. And this was back before you could find a lot of Jackie Chan movies to rent, and you just had to buy them and hope they were good.
The dark era.
Right? Yeah. And so we had this. It was like a TV VCR combo in my grandmother's kitchen, right by her like the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And my brother and I just had it in there, queued up to the Benny the Jet fight, and we would just play it in the morning while we were eating our cereal. And that was like how we got amped up to go to school. Was we just watched these two guys.
What were the halls like in middle of nowhere, Tennessee? gotta walk these halls, catch these hands. Like, what's going on?
I'm 4 foot and I'm ready to go. Yeah.
So if you want if you want 2 movies of Jackie Chan's to not watch and stay away from, City Hunter from 1993. Definitely don't watch that one. It's not good at all.
Yeah.
Then I'm looking it up. It's one with this really weird like roller derby thing in it.
I can't think of the name of it. It's a more recent one though.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's not the tuxedo one, is it?
No.
This was like, I don't know. Like, you guys keep talking, I'll find it.
Well, I was gonna say, when you were talking about like you couldn't
Robin
find
B. Hood. Is that it?
No.
Shut up.
No.
And you couldn't find if that's gonna be the name, I'll be mad.
It's not. That is a movie that he
That
was
is a
in.
movie.
Yeah, I
to be
know,
clear.
but it's not that. But when you couldn't find Jackie Chan movies to rent, like I remember seeing First Strike in theaters.
Yeah.
And it was like a lot of people. I mean, I was still a kid. This is what 93, 96.
96 probably, because Rumble in the Bronx was like 95 when I saw it, like the first Jackie Chan movie in theaters.
I didn't see it in theaters, so
it would have been 96, 97, I would say.
But I remember going to see that. I think I dragged my mom to that. No, First Strike is 96. Yeah, I think
is it 96? Okay.
which is weird.
The Big Brawl.
That one.
It is terrible.
That's the one from like the early 80s, his first like American movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot describe how bad this movie is.
I've never seen it.
It is terrible.
I don't think.
And
I've
it's not
ever
even
seen
terrible
it
in
either.
like the good way. It's just bad.
Oh, sad. You make me sad now. All Jackie Chan movies are a treasure.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
I
Somehow
still
it has a
love First Strike
67% on Rotten Tomatoes though.
because people really like
Garbage
Jackie
website.
Chan. Why would anybody go there for anything?
So Steven, what's yours?
Okay, well,
He's probably going to say The Matrix.
I was going to go with The Matrix.
I mean, The Matrix is
So
worth it.
because y'all both just whipped this out at me like it was some joke, I doubled down. I was debating. You know what? Screw both of you. When Neo fights Agent Smith in the subway
it's
station,
fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
we open up with gunplay, bullet time, into straight just punching it out, slinging each other into walls, cracking concrete.
Well, and this came out in 99, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So as a 13-year-old.
So much that is going on in this film was all new, right? My wife watched this movie for the first time a couple years ago, and she's like, "Yeah, it's okay." I was like, I can't explain how much of this was just mind blowing. Like everyone has seen Bullet Time and this kind of stuff in films, but at the time, oh my god, in theaters, like what are they doing? How?
It was one of those things where my friends, at least, we walked out of the theater and we're like, "Can we go to the next showing?"
Yeah, just turn right
Can
around.
we immediately
get back
watch
in
it
line,
again?
yeah.
And then The Matrix 2, we were like, "Can we not watch
Can we
that
never see
ever
this film
again?"
again?
So
How to ruin a trilogy?
What a twist! Yeah.
So I remember watching this, and like when they're throwing around, being thrown into like the tile and everything,
It's
and
just like
the
shattering the
pillars
wall.
are shattering.
yeah, well, it's like this is what Dragon Ball Z is like,
Oh, yeah.
but in real life.
Yeah.
And like as a 13-year-old, like this was the coolest thing ever.
Well, especially because, again, this isn't the climax of the film, but it's kind of the point where Neo is starting to believe in himself. Because
Right.
agents are, an unconquerable force.
Yeah.
Right.
And this Smith, in particular, has it out for him.
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving
such
was
a good choice.
That was such a good casting. I mean, for a man who, again, talking about good fights, I don't know if he could even throw a punch. I don't know. I don't care.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
It's the slowdown son.
Yeah.
You're like, oh. Man, I tell you what, Hugo Weaving had a great run there, 99 into the 2000s.
Yeah,
from,
'cause
from the
Lord of
Matrix
the Rings.
straight into
Heck
Lord
of an
the Rings.
agent. Whoever was his
Yeah,
agent.
his agent was just making bank.
It could have been all gambles, but they were paying off. This guy
left
was
and
like,
right.
man.
Well, so this is a tertiary thing because we're talking about martial arts, kung fu, that kind of stuff. But we can also talk about the Matrix and gun fu whenever
is
they
kind
go
of the
into the
beginning-
security checkpoint.
Yeah, that is
Oh, yeah.
another good fight.
Yeah.
It's a little over the top for me.
I mean, that's
because mostly just because it's just two main characters mowing down mooks.
I don't know. That's kind of fun.
It's kind of fun, though. I don't know, guy.
Well, also you got the music going.
Yeah. I think it's Prodigy.
Is that the?
Is it Prodigy? I'll look it up.
Ryan,
Find
look
it
it
up.
up. No,
You guys
Ryan,
I
look
got
it up
the- I
because
got the
Ryan can
Bluetooth.
play it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan can play it. But like that one is great just because all the gunfire with all the tile coming off the
Yeah,
wall.
well, I think the cool thing was too because this was really when the MP5K submachine gun was really big.
Oh, it's hot. Everybody had a submachine
Because
gun.
they had it in Mission Impossible 2, which technically a year later, but like this was all around that
It's right
same
around the
time.
same era.
And now you get like these two really cool characters in sunglasses and trench coats using these akimbo, and it's
Well, it's
just
just like the poor like rent-a-cop like doing the security. He's like, oh, okay, open up your holy, and it just goes up from there, right? But I want to go back to the subway.
yeah.
Because one, it's more of a personal one-on-one, but the bits in there where they do like you're out of bullets, so are you, right? Into the throat jab where it's like this moment of like, is he winning? Like, is that a win? Do we call that a win? Like you made him go, is that a win? Like up to where he like recovers from being just like slammed into the wall and does the flex and like the dust comes off.
Oh,
of him.
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Like what an iconic scene.
Again, very Dragon Ball Z-esque
It
in
is.
that
Oh.
moment. Yeah.
But it's so cool too because think about this fight, right? Is you have all this fight like Neo barely gets away from this.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
being held down on the train tracks as the train's coming with Agent Smith over him. You hear that sound? That's the sound of inevitability. And then he like barely flips out of the way, and like while he's like stumbling away from this, the train stops and like Smith's coming off the train, and it's just like you didn't actually win any ground, but boy, it feels like a win.
It felt good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what this song is.
All
Here.
right, so this is the bottom of the tower, right?
Yeah.
This is like actually gunfire in there. You just pulled
No,
the
he probably
clip.
just pulled the clip
I
up.
pulled the clip up. I'm trying to figure out when the music starts. Oh, here it is. It's just gunfire right now.
That's the music.
That's like soundtrack. I thought it kicked into like.
It does though.
It's not Sandstorm, is it?
No, it's not Sandstorm. Get out of here. Someone needs to put that over that sequence and put that on YouTube. That's gold. Any day now, Ryan.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, this is Chemical Brothers?
Chemical Brothers, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Chemical Brothers.
Man, find the actual just the song.
I'm going now. Yeah, I thought it was loud. The sound mixing on this YouTube clip's like 90% guns.
What? I mean, that's kind of what you want if
It
you're
is,
on
I guess.
YouTube. Let's be honest.
Is it? Well, I mean, yeah,
For this
I guess so.
sequence, kind of, yeah. Yeah, that sequence was also really cool.
Probably off of Exit Planet Dust album. I honestly don't know. I haven't listened to Chemical
I'm sure go to the
Brothers
Matrix
Just
soundtrack
go to the
and find
Matrix
it. Yeah, I'm
soundtrack
there.
and look for. Y'all are making this so difficult.
I'm there right now.
You're making it difficult.
I'm not making
you
it difficult
picked
at
the
all.
movie.
I chose a different fight.
I'm out of order. You're so court's out of order. It's not on the soundtrack. That stinks.
What?
Okay. I'm looking. Just talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, so while
Give it a
while
little.
we're on the subject of Matrix,
Right.
did you ever you saw the third one, right? Revolution.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I saw the Animatrix. Get out of here.
I actually
buddy.
haven't seen the Animatrix.
It's not bad.
It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not
but-
the best, but I mean, compared to 2, anything's good. I mean,
Two was not very good.
Woo.
3 was okay.
it was fun.
I still remember the final like kind of like superhero fight at the end.
Oh, when they're all flying around, the CGI is terrible.
Yeah, well, the CGI in
It's just
2
too
and
early for that CGI.
Yeah, 2 and 3 was not very good, especially in 2 whenever he's like running on the faces of all the Mr. Smiths and everyone's rubber.
Yeah, like the CGI choices made in the early aughts were all bad because the CGI just wasn't up to the
It
task.
just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they relied on entirely like what is this whole sequence is CGI? It's like, can we like not? Can we do something else? Can we
So the
focus
problem
on that?
too is if you don't know, like for people listening, like the first Matrix had been like banded around and like re-scripted and like worked on for like a decade before they finally
And then
got
it
it
was just-
greenlit.
And then they're like, "Oh, we need more of this."
And then they were
"We don't
like,
have any
now."
pre-pro for this.
Immediately we need a sequel.
Yeah.
And so the turnaround on that second Matrix movie was like crazy fast. And again, I think their ideas for the first one had been honed.
They've been marinating for so long.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like you can really tell the Wachowski sisters were very hard up onto like anime and that kind of realm, and it's definitely because this came out a couple years after the first Ghost in the Shell movie came out.
Yep.
There's so much influence with that kind of just cyberpunk and dystopian, and it really hits home.
Yeah.
Just how much they hit the nail on the head, I think.
The song is Spy Break by Propellerheads.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
we just
completely
couldn't get it
wrong.
right. Yeah.
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 So let me tell you, I had this on like because it was the late '90s, early 2000s. I had this on a burned CD.
Oh yeah.
Sail the high seas, get any music you want.
Yeah.
This
baby.
is when I first had my license. This is a real dangerous song. This is not
yeah.
it. No.
No, this is it.
This is it. This is the one that just played in the scene that you couldn't hear behind the guns.
I was
This is
pretty
100%
certain.
it.
I really thought this was played when they first dial into the Matrix
No.
as a group, and it's doing the turn as the phone's ringing.
I know they may play it multiple
They may play it
times.
multiple
It's
times.
possible, yeah. They pay for the
but
rights
I will
for it.
say, again, as someone who had this in my first car on a mix CD, that is a dangerous song to listen to while driving.
That's an instant ticket right
you would
there.
get a ticket so fast. You'd look down and be like, I'm going 55. Oh, this is a 30.
Well, especially as like a teenage kid.
Oh, yeah,
Because
it's
you
terrible.
just don't really have like that filter of like, oh, I can just go fast. I'm invincible.
You're invincible.
You don't have any, what do they call it? Logic. Intelligence.
Intelligence.
Yeah.
Maturity. Just a lot of things necessary, Man, I tell you,
Yeah.
thinking back to when The Matrix came out, what a wild time.
Well, the cool thing for me, I think, with The Matrix was it was this inflection point where I had seen a lot of Jackie Chan movies. I had done my deep dive on Bruce Lee by then.
And I'd seen some of the anime
Yeah.
that influenced it. It didn't
Like,
matter. This is
Ghost in
still
the Shell.
Rumble in the
incredible.
Bronx changed my life. I've said this multiple times. My uncle Gary was a big fan of Jackie Chan, and he had watched some other Jackie Chan movies before that.
So
Like
you lucked out. You had the good uncle. My
I
uncle
did.
was a big fan of Steven Seagal.
oh, okay.
It's a different world when you
There's
grow
a
up
whole
with
different
that.
world. Under Siege is all right. There's some good Steven Seagal movies out there, but it's mostly just slap fighting. Moving past it.
The enemies have to walk to him because he's not walking over
Come
there.
Here. I'm just the cook. Slap, 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 slap. Anyways, Tommy Lee Jones
I'm
Under
just gonna
Siege
say
is
this now.
fantastic.
I've never actually seen the Steven Seagal film.
We gotta watch Under Siege now.
That would be a great commentary.
Oh, it would be an incredible commentary.
what a
Oh my
good
God,
commentary.
Andrew.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're doing it. Put it on the calendar.
Stop everything. Rent Under Siege right now. No, okay. But so he took me to see Rumble in the Bronx, and I was like, this is like seeing in color for the first time.
I mean,
I can
whenever you
smell
watch
sights,
Jackie Chan beat
hear
an entire
sounds.
group of hooligans with refrigerators, it's pretty cool.
So I was voracious. Like anything I could
the freezer
find.
door, then the refrigerator door.
I'm
back in the
pretty
freezer
sure
door.
I bought Wheels on Meals in between seeing Rumble in the Bronx and First Strike coming out because again you couldn't rent
wanted
anything.
it, yeah.
I went to Suncoast Movies and I was like, it's got Jackie Chan in
They
it.
put the VHS in a brown paper bag for you, like the contraband it was.
Yeah, but I had seen, and because of that, I was like, I had seen Enter the Dragon a few times on TV before this, so I had like seen some kung fu movies, but like I went like hog wild, anything I could get my hands on, right?
Yeah.
And then so when The Matrix comes out in like '99, I'm already like kung fu kid over here, right?
Yeah.
Compared to my friends who
and
like
this
a
was
lot of
just
them hadn't seen anything.
eye-opening just for how like different and revolutionary it was for the time.
I remember like the behind the scenes around like bullet time and everything. It's just like, wow, like they're like all
Man,
the
they were-
cameras in a 360.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is so cool. Because it was like the next evolution of not people,
filmmaking
not
and-
people being on wires, but like they were on wires, but because they made it a static frame, it didn't matter. Like they weren't moving.
Right, yeah.
Ah, it's so cool.
Well, I still like the first time that happens. I think that's when Trinity does the
first kick
Yeah,
or whatever,
the
yeah.
first kick or whatever,
Oh,
and
she,
it
like,
goes
does
all
the
the way
flip kick?
around.
Yeah.
and you know, like it's just what?
Well, it was
just
one of those
happened?
few moments in like movies where like I was getting old enough to understand some of the basics
Like
of
how
filmmaking.
difficult some of these things
Yeah,
could be.
and when you see it, you go like, I can't begin. And it's
What
like,
did
it's
they-
just a
how
bunch
did
of
they
cameras
do
in a
that?
circle. But like at the
they
time, you're
spent
like,
a lot of money.
how did they even do this? You know, like it blows your mind.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
It is.
It
Yeah.
really, I mean, like, man. And then of
They
course-
should have just stopped at one, but
Or just given more time.
Or given more
until-
time.
use the
Yeah.
fact that the clout they possess now to push back a little. Be like, give us a little
Yeah.
bit more.
yeah, because now we have 4 of them, and only one of them is actually good.
Did you watch the fourth one?
I did.
Yeah.
It
the
was
fourth one was like,
Fine.
the fourth one was wild because it was like,
so meta.
it was so clearly they didn't want to make a Matrix movie, but they had
also
to
wanted the money.
because they got to check. So then they made the most cynical meta, like we don't want to make a Matrix movie, so we'll make a movie about us not wanting to make a
Yeah,
Matrix
pretty
movie.
So what's interesting is, and I didn't see that film, but I kind of from the way the trailer seemed to be going, it felt kind of like a reboot, quote unquote. It's
not really.
No,
not at all.
I know
It
it's not reboot. It's going into like the engineers' discussions.
A
kind of
little
thing.
bit,
Kind of,
yeah.
So my sister used to always maintain that the way that the Matrix should have ended, whether it's the first film or the trilogy, is at the end of it, Neo wakes up, the alarm's going off, he's in his crappy apartment, he's late for work. Boom, roll credits. Was it all real? Is he back in, or was it just a dream? You don't know. Tough. Figure it out.
Well,
People would have talked about that for it'd be like the top in Inception, right?
Yeah, it would have been like, what if he like hits his alarm and there's like a Duracell copper top like right next to
Sit
it?
next to it.
Oh, am I the battery or am I just late for work?
So
You
there's
are the
a
battery that fuels capitalism.
We're all batteries.
so I have a. This is not Matrix related.
You promise?
Yes, I promise.
Okay.
This is.
What is it doing here?
No, this is an honorable mention for
okay.
some other martial arts fights.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about Jackie Chan. We had 2 Jackie Chan films,
We did.
We did.
and then we also had the Matrix.
I was genuinely worried we all three were gonna have Jackie Chan fights. I was like,
but we can.
That's
like,
why I was like, we have to have something that's not.
we're gonna
Jackie
change the name of this episode. Is what we're gonna do if it's all
So
Jackie Chan.
we have an episode about Ip Man, Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
But the other thing that you can also do is you can go watch Ip Man 3. And the film itself is pretty good.
I haven't seen this
Nah,
one yet.
Hitman 2.
No, hold
Promote
on.
the two.
Hold
Promote the sequel.
on.
He's driving this car.
I know he is.
There's a specific fight in
Steven's
Ip Man.
grabbing the wheel.
Right off, it's going off a cliff.
There's a specific fight in Ip Man 3 where he starts out in an elevator with his wife and a dude that basically a bounty hunter, whatever you want to call him, walks in on them ready to fight. And the fight starts in the elevator where Donnie Yen or Ip Man is protecting his wife while also fending off this guy.
Yeah.
And then it leads out from the elevator down the stairs while the elevator's still going down with his wife in it.
Oh my gosh.
And they go all
So
the
he's
way.
fighting and
he's
it's going
fighting
down in the
as it's
back.
going down.
Oh, cool.
And there's a really fantastic one shot that happens that's overhead that goes down basically 2 floors. as him and this guy are fighting down the stairs and everything like that. And the fight finally ends where he beats the guy and the elevator finally stops and the doors open and his wife's there.
That's awesome.
It's fantastic and it's totally worth the admission to watch the film. Film's still pretty good. 2's better, but that specific fight is definitely worth it.
Mike Tyson's in this one?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
So
yeah, he's the final boss.
Interesting.
My honorable mention, the one that I was debating going with, because again, it was something that y'all weren't going to pick, was going to be Ong Bak.
Ooh, I love Ong Bak.
Oh man, the fight in the like illegal club.
Oh, the Fight Club one? Yeah.
That everything about that with like Mad Dog.
Yes.
Or just.
Like anytime Tony Jaa does that move where he elbows and knees you at the same time, it's like, you're like, oh my gosh.
He does Muay Thai, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all Muay Thai. But like that fight sequence, there's also the dude that he fights in that club who like he has the big poofy hair, but he like does the snappy head. And it does the little wiggle. I love that. And also the big street fight they have where he does like the whole like running on people's shoulders move.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then they also have the little bit of humor in there where they're like chasing each other and then the lady walks by selling knives. And now they're chasing each other all with knives.
I do want to shout out, honorable mention, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the duel between...
Is this the bamboo fight?
No, Michelle Yeoh
and
Zhang Ziyi, where Michelle Yeoh's going through all the different like weapons.
Okay. So we've mentioned it on the cast before, actually, that specific fight.
Yeah.
But man, it's fantastic because it has very good plot relevance.
Yeah.
And lots of good emotional stakes to it. But just watching Michelle Yeoh just get to do her thing.
It's incredible.
Always worth the price.
The choreography is great, but both her acting and her like performance of the like martial arts choreography is like incredible in that scene.
It is. It's really, really good.
Another one is Return of the Dragon, where Bruce Lee fights Chuck Norris at the end.
Yes, that is Return of the Dragon.
Yeah, because Enter the Dragon's the other. Yeah, Return of the Dragon. Or The Way of the Dragon. It's had like 3 different titles.
Yeah, Chuck Norris with all of his chest hair.
All of his chest hair.
All his glory.
My favorite, so that movie, the overall movie is like boring as all get out. And that one came out, I believe, posthumously. I think that may have been,
I think that was his last one.
Way of the Dragon.
Way of the Dragon.
Way of the Dragon.
Okay. But yeah, he fights Chuck Norris at the end. And the whole movie, they've been setting this fight up. And I remember, so when I was a kid, my exposure to martial arts was like, Chuck Norris was first because my mom was a huge fan of this movie called The Octagon.
Oh no!
From 1976.
So I remember the first Chuck Norris thing I saw outside of Walker, Texas Ranger was the one where he was on a SWAT team with a dog.
I know the movie you're talking about.
Gosh.
I saw that so many times.
But my mom loved Chuck Norris, so we watched The Octagon. There was one where I can't remember what happens in the end of it, but like there was like Delta Force. There was like 3 or 4 Chuck Norris movies in the 80s that were like that.
I remember Delta Force. Yeah.
I think it was K9. No,
I think that was a different movie.
Doesn't
I think.
sound right.
Look that up.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
Then I got to watch the earliest 2 Steven Seagal movies, Hard to Kill and they're all 3-word titles. It's Hard to Kill, Above the Law. Hard to Kill and Above the Law. And that was my exposure to that. And then I was introduced to Jean-Claude Van Damme. And that's where like the majority of my Bloodsport was my movie, where it's like my mom liked, the Chuck Norris movies and that kind of stuff.
Top Dog.
Okay. Hold on.
Is.
I'm going to stop you right there. So the fight between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris is filmed illegally.
Really? Well, because it was in like the ruins of
the Coliseum.
And that was they probably didn't get like permission to do that at
all. Some sequences are filmed on a soundstage.
Yeah.
But Bruce Lee really wanted to film in the Coliseum.
Well, they have a cat and mouse where they go back and forth in the Coliseum for a while.
So they bribed Roman officials to sneak cameras in bags to film some of the sequences of the fight scene and then blended the footage in with the other stuff shot back on the soundstage.
It is Return of the Dragon.
This calls it Way of the Dragon. I think it's had multiple names.
It is Way of the Dragon, Return of the Dragon, both the same.
Yes, I had Return of the Dragon on VHS, but I looked it up and it's Way of the Dragon.
I knew it was Way of the Dragon.
It's either one,
It's either one. But the point of that fight is it kicks off with a cat. Like they're sitting there and they're sizing each other up, and like you've seen these 2 guys, doing martial arts throughout the whole movie. You're like, this is gonna be the fight.
It's gonna rule.
Yeah, and then there's this cat, and it's all dubbed because it's almost like Good, Bad, and the Ugly of like, I don't think they had any of the natural sound
Yeah.
left. So the dub is like, they had to dub everything in.
Everything's falling.
And so this cat meows, and that's what kicks the fight off because they're just sitting here tense, like who's going to make the first move.
Yeah.
But they dubbed in a dude going, meow, like it's a man screaming the meow, and like then they start fighting. I'm gonna see if I can find that clip because it's absurd, and you're like, what is this? But then that's one of my favorite Bruce Lee fights because it's like Chuck Norris is a very, especially at that time, like a very accomplished martial artist.
Top of his game.
Yeah. Peak physical shape, lots of chest hair on display, and yeah,
What's
it's just a
the
good
word?
fight.
It's a 1972.
72.
Yeah.
What are you looking up? Chest hair?
I'm not looking up
No,
anything.
I said, what's the word? HIRSUTE? Hirsute? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh,
I don't know.
that sounds like something you'd learn in school. I'd skip that chapter.
So
Hirsute.
there is another
really
honorable
just means
mention
hairy.
because we haven't mentioned Gently. So Fearless,
Oh, Fearless or The One.
the one.
I love
actually
The
haven't
One.
seen the one.
Oh, so there's a sequence, right?
Or Hero. Doesn't he fights Donnie Yen
He fights
in Hero.
Donnie
There's
Yen
a
in
good
Hero,
scene
yeah.
there.
Because in The One, he fights, like there's a bit where he's like attacking a police station as like a prisoner's being escorted out. I'm trying not to just totally brutalize the plot, mostly for Andrew's sake. And so he just like goes from like police officer to police officer and is just like punching them, like launching them into air, right? So in order to shoot it, they hung tennis balls from the ceiling. And it's like you punch each tennis ball in sequence, and then we go back in and we put the stunt actors flying backwards you know, over it. Well, they shot it, and then they went to go edit it, and the director's like, hey, we got to reshoot this. Like, why? It's like, because 24 frames and you moving, it doesn't look like you're doing
don't
it.
work.
It's too
It's
fast.
Too
It's
fast.
Yeah, it's
you
too
gotta
fast.
you gotta slow down. Which just that thought, that's terrifying because he covers a lot of ground in the sequence.
Yeah.
It is terrifying. That man must have been flying.
He probably
Yeah.
was. Okay, here's the cat meowing. Are we ready?
All right, yeah, go.
Okay, so at this point they have squared off. They've like walked around each other for a while, and they're like just tensely looking at each other. Okay.
All right.
It's a lot quieter than I thought. Let me crank the volume on this. It's just a guy going, meow. It's just
You should get a soundbite for that and just add it to the soundboard.
Soundbar, please, yes.
I don't think I could be trusted with that
And then
power.
they brought in, and then they introduced us to a cat.
Anyways, other than that's a really good fight.
Oh, that's incredible.
All right. Well, I do think we're kind of winding down here. We've hit our tops. We've hit our honorable mentions. We've
Yeah.
discussed a man meowing as a cat horribly. But on that note, it's time to promote the Patreon.
Yes, for just $1, you get access to all of our bonus episodes. That's everything we've ever done as a bonus thing. Everything.
Everything.
Plus at least one bonus episode a month. And these are a lot of fun. We do some wild stuff over there.
we fight some presidents.
Yeah, you gotta
we
get on
make
brand with
some-
martial arts
We
here.
deal
We
with some
fight
AI.
Yeah.
Things.
We also have a martial arts recommendation Patreon episode where we
Which
talk about.
We probably talk about the same stuff that we talked
We
about here.
cover some of the same
Some
ground
of
here,
this
but we
is gonna
talk
come
about
up.
like more.
Well, we recommend all kinds of different tiers of like, hey, you want to be
Yeah.
ease into this, or you want to go into the woods, finding the worst dub possible moments here.
Yeah, but we also have commentaries over there, so if you can sync up the podcast with a movie, watch. It's like we're sitting there on the couch right
Man,
next
and
to
we've
you.
got to do Under Siege. I don't know why we didn't think Steven Seagal movie.
It's got to be in the pipeline
it's gold.
now.
It's gold.
Yeah.
So, we have Patreon, but if that's not your thing, that's totally okay. We would love for you to share or like and share all of our stuff whenever we
Leave us
post
a
it.
review, whatever podcast provider you're listening to this on. It
Yeah.
really helps us move up the algorithm.
Yeah, it would greatly appreciated. But yeah, we really always appreciate anyone listening to the show. So thanks.
Yes. On that note, that is all the time we have for this episode. So until next time, I'm Steven.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ryan.
And every spoiler was intended.